to see this process, this system where this company takes mail, other goods, and people out to the freighters that keep the Great Lakes thriving economically, was really special to find. Each of the people we met so far seemed to have an interesting and important role in the transportation system. Without any of them, the system would break down and the package wouldn't be delivered. If Alan, as the freighter pilot, didn't navigate the water correctly, it might not pass by the J.W. Westcott for pickup, which in Alan's case would mean he would be stuck on the boat. If Sam or Bill, as the J.W. Westcott captains, didn't receive the message or lost a package, they wouldn't make it to the freighter for drop-off or pickup. Both of these groups had completed their jobs successfully, but there was still someone missing. Without a postal worker on land to transport it to and from the J.W. Westcott, the package wouldn't make it where it needed to go. For that reason, we decided to learn a little bit more about each of these roles. First up was United States Postal Service worker Tomas. We were lucky enough to catch him at just the right time as he was delivering the Daily Mail.
And we do this all winter, all summer. 7 days, 24/7. I've been here doing this for 47 years. Started when I was 18. But next year will be my last year.
It was clear that Tomas loved what he did. He would surely be missed upon his retirement. Next up was Sam Buchanan. I just had to ask him how he got started at this company.
Well, I'm a native of the neighborhood here. I grew up in Southwest Detroit all my life, and this is where we are. And I just always have been interested in transportation and watching the boat go out and watching the big ships and all that. And my original plan was to work on the big ships or do something like that. But when I got out of high school in 1985, there really wasn't a whole lot of, you couldn't get into the Maritime Academy. It was very tight to get in there. You couldn't get a job on the ships because they were all filled. So this job opened up, so I came here. And in the meanwhile, I got a job at the phone company. So I had two jobs. So I had to pick between which career I wanted to pursue. And, I was sitting behind a desk all day at the phone company on the 13th floor of a building downtown looking out at the river. And I said, no, the river's where I belong. So I left the phone company and I came here and I just didn't leave.
All of what Sam shared was incredibly interesting. And all of this thinking about ships reminded me of Alan again. It seemed like Alan must have had to go through a lot of training to have the responsibility of navigating such a large ship. I wanted to know more about his path.
Well, I started off as a navigation cadet many, many years ago, and then I worked my way up through the ranks. I had command of my own ship for a number of years, and then I decided to become a pilot. So that meant I was no longer a captain of my own ship with a shipping company. I now work for the Government of Canada, and as a pilot, like I said, you bring the ship from A to B, and that usually takes a few hours. Like this morning, I got on at 4:30 this morning in Sarnia, and I'm off now at 10 o'clock. Now I'm going back to the hotel, relax, and probably do it again tomorrow. So it's a better lifestyle. So I'm home basically every day. So piloting is the way to go if you want a good family life. Yeah, and the pay is not so bad either. So that's always a bonus.
Being that the crew was going to stop their deliveries for the season in a week's time, I was wondering about if deliveries ever get impacted by weather.
Well, we get 6-foot waves out here on a really hard blow some days.
Yeah.
And I was just looking at a historical picture on here from I think it was 1928 when they had a really bad storm on December 8th, and a passenger boat had broken free and landed up against the Belle Isle Bridge. I'm looking at the waves in the water, and boy, it was one of those days where the wind was blowing southwest and a storm hit. And we have some, July is nice, August is nice, but when you start getting into this weather, when it freezes, and it becomes kind of a hard job in the fall. There's fog out there really bad. We do have radar, and we will try to do what we can do. There can be delays. We sometimes do our job in a different vicinity if the river is too rough.
Okay.
Just Friday, I had 4 of those pilot changes coming down at one time, which was delayed because of that ship that was aground.
Yeah.
And because the water was kind of rough, I had to meet them all up above. And what we do is when the ship comes down the river, we get them over on the Canadian side and we turn them sideways. And then that blocks all the wind and the waves. And then I come around the back side of it, we do our job, and then they straighten back out and go down the river. Well, I had to do that for all 4 of them.
So it sounded like each role in the system needed to work well together, and the weather needed to cooperate in order for the package delivery system to work. Even if the system worked perfectly, I wondered if there might be outside factors that could impact the business. I decided to ask Sam to share his thoughts.
At the Sioux Locks, there is a boat there called the Ojibwe,
Okay.
and it's owned by the Sioux Marine. It's called Sioux Marine. They have a boat there that actually has a crane on it that can put supplies aboard. And then that's the other thing in our business. When I started here, there were so many vendors, people with meat markets, and even a boat in Detroit that did groceries and things like that.
Okay.
And it's all gone. And the reason it's gone is because the business isn't sustainable when you're not servicing a lot of boats.
Yeah.
You know, and like us, we do them all. So we've been able to stick around since 1874. So, but if you tried to open a marine boat or something like that, like with us, we diversified when it wasn't cool to diversify. We've always had several sources of a way of making money. And so when one was down, maybe we're like a mutual fund. I don't know. When one's down, the other one's always picked up for us.
Bill seemed to think the same way as Sam. J.W. Westcott Company had planned ahead, and because of their willingness to adapt and be flexible, they would be able to continue to thrive in the future.